Good day, mates, and welcome back to Pushbox Banter. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Craig, and we are here coming to you once again to talk about things because now the earth and the world is all in its right place with F1 back in place and back in action as of this weekend, our first race down in Australia. So
it was far too long.
Yeah.
But
oh
we're
my
back.
Gosh. Yes, we are back. Yes. It was way too long. I don't know how we survived, but somehow we did.
We made it through the winter.
Yes.
Winter came. Winter's kind of gone.
Yeah. Spring is here, and so is F1.
Yeah.
So, yes. So we're excited about that. And so F1 started this weekend down in Australia at the Melbourne Grand Prix. And cool things about that place.
Yeah.
I mean, it
totally.
takes, like, it's a street track, but it takes like 260,000 man hours, something like that, to disassemble or assemble and disassemble. So pretty cool stuff.
It's crazy they do that, but
Yeah. So good times. So down in Melbourne, start of the season. The race has been going on, like the Australian Grand Prix. They've had that since like the 1920s, but as far as like in Albert Park, its current location has been since the 90s, and we've had some good stuff there. So Michael Schumacher, he's won 4 times there.
Right.
We've had other good stuff going on too. Our favorite, Lewis Hamilton,
8-time pole sitter.
Yes, he's won twice down there.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, good stuff. So
awesome.
wait, isn't there more stuff about Melbourne that we could talk about?
Yeah. There's so much. So, Craig,
I haven't traveled there before. I've been to Australia, but not to Melbourne.
I've actually never been
Okay.
to Australia.
Yeah,
But
it's a cool
did
place.
you know
Cool
that
people.
Melbourne was founded by this guy named John Batman?
Are you serious?
Yeah. It used to be called Batmania
Oh my
in the
gosh.
1800s. Yeah, seriously.
Sounds like your place.
For sure. Yeah. I wonder if he was like, this is Batmania.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Probably not.
It was the capital of Australia before Canberra.
Canberra. Yeah.
Canberra.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a capital for a little bit, and Vegemite was invented there.
Really?
Did I say that
The
correctly?
Vegemite sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Vegemite
invented.
spread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Did you know that
No.
the Melbournians import? It is the way they call. That's what they're called.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Sounds good to me.
It's
Let's
true.
go with it.
they import 30 tons of coffee a day. They're big time coffee drinkers. They have the biggest cafe to people ratio.
Really?
Yeah. So actually, the McCafe was invented in Melbourne.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So
That
a bunch
is
of
super
coffee
cool.
snob. So I'm wondering though, I mean, I think that with coffee snobbery going on down there,
Yeah.
but then it's at McCafe. So I wonder what is their level of coffee snobbery? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Well, McDonald's everywhere is a little different, and
Right. But
everywhere
usually
outside of the U.S., it's
yeah, it's
pretty good.
pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Usually. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is got one of the biggest tram systems in the world.
Okay.
So if you like trams, which are those little, trains that are in the streets, that's your place.
Nice.
And one of the biggest capitals for sporting, the sporting capital of Australia, because they've got a cricket venue, they've got the F1, they've got the Australian Open there. So obviously,
And
big
countless
sporting.
other things.
And countless other things, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And they have penguins. So if you want to go see an F1 race, you can head down to one of those little islands that are close by, and they have penguins.
Because
How cool is that?
I mean, that is really cool.
You wouldn't expect it. You'd expect like kangaroos or something.
I would expect kangaroos, little wallabies, joeys,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. Yeah, but not penguins that close.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right.
So that's pretty cool. And and so new things for, I guess, F1 also was like the sponsors. I don't know if you saw Louis Vuitton.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, they were all over the race.
All over the place,
Yeah.
right? I noticed that when we were watching the race, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. They, I guess, signed a 10-year sponsorship for having the trophy cases.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you're going to see them all over the place.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also noticed like with Tag Heuer.
Yes. So Rolex is gone. Tag is in.
Yeah.
which I felt, was almost always the case. You saw, I think Hamilton with his high-end Richard Milles always, rocking them, and then Rolex all over the place, and
Right.
Tag now being the main sponsor. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah, it's good for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
So we get to the race. Cool place down in Australia. Qualifying happens. Lots of cool stuff happens. I mean, a lot of similar things that you would expect. Like you'd expect, McLaren. You'd expect Verstappen. You'd expect Ferrari to be kind of at the top.
Yeah.
McLaren comes in. They were the drivers' championship or champions last year, or constructors. Excuse me, constructors champions last year. Verstappen being the driver, but. So they come in, they qualify 1-2. We've got Verstappen as 3. Got a few others they qualify up there. They're a little surprising, but not crazy surprising.
Yuki.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Yuki.
Yeah, Yuki.
Yuki.
Yeah, Yuki.
Tsunoda.
Yeah, Yuki Tsunoda qualifies Hamilton.
Lawson qualified 18th. Come on.
Gosh, horrible.
It just makes you think, what's going on with that Red Bull? What are we at? 4 drivers now, right? 4 drivers in, 4 drivers out. Obviously, Perez, the longest one that could kind of manage it, but I wonder what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, the other thing is you've got Yuki in the Racing Bulls car, and he's qualifying 5th. So is that car actually better than the Red Bull car? But Verstappen is such a better driver, he's qualifying 3rd.
It makes you wonder
how well could he do if he's in the Racing Bulls car this year?
What I wonder is is it worth it for Red Bull to make a car around Verstappen, or is it better for them to just make a good car and have 2 drivers up there? Look at McLaren. There's a reason both of them are right next to each other fighting for leads. And with the Red Bull, you have literally 1 in 2nd and 1 in 18th. How does that work?
Not very well.
No. It kind of begs a question, why don't you put Verstappen and Lawson in similar cars that are drivable and see how they do? I don't know. Every time I think about it, it's is it worth having a driver's champion and lose out on the constructors? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'd rather end 2nd and 3rd in the drivers and win the constructors championship.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But you need both drivers, and kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah, it does. It definitely makes you wonder when Yuki is going that high up in the grid if they made the right choice, even after one race, right? It just one qualifying.
If they made the right choice in car development or driver selection.
Well, definitely driver selection, possibly cars.
Okay,
car
so
development
put
as well.
Yuki. You put Yuki in Lawson's chair, right? In Lawson's seat. Does he do better, or is he in 18th?
That's a good
I think
question.
It's the car. I don't know.
That's a very good question. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's the next thing we need to see. They demote Lawson, bring up Yuki, and see how Yuki does in that car. And if Yuki doesn't do any better or is kind of at the end of the pack, then maybe that's something for Red Bull to think about.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know how sustainable making a car for one driver is.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. So one of the other things that I took away from quali is that the race conditions were totally different for qualifying versus what the race is predicted to be or was predicted to be. So you've got 40-degree track temperatures versus, or 40 degrees Celsius versus your versus what is supposed to be in the race, which in the race is supposed to be rainy, 20-degree track temperatures. So so that was one of the things going into it that I definitely was like, man, I need to check that out. I need to look at that.
Yeah. And I mean, also we have rookies, right? More rookies than we've ever seen. It's really unusual.
That's true. Yeah, because there's
so strange.
5 to 6 rookies, and I say it that way because some people aren't really considering Lawson a rookie.
Lawson's a rookie. I mean, yeah, he's had a couple races, but
that's what you say. So we'll go with that.
I count him as a rookie.
I know, but some say no, just because he's had so many starts already.
True,
but it is his first official season to start. At the beginning of the season.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we count it that way, then there's
chaos expected for sure.
Definitely, just having that many rookies, that something's going to be off.
You know what's funny? You heard a lot about like high expectations for some rookies, for example, Behrman. But
Yeah.
you know, going into the practices and quali, some of these guys are not looking that good.
That's true.
Antonelli, Behrman. Obviously, it plays out a little different, and we can get into that here in a second. But yeah, they weren't looking as good as anticipated, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So how does the rain? What did we see in the race?
Well, I mean, one of the other things, you know, looking into the race is like, okay, what about the top teams? How are they going to perform? Or are we going to still see McLaren, Ferrari at the top? You know, kind of how it all ended at last year. Is that going to still be the same order? Or some of the other midfield teams, are they going to be in moving up in the grid or what? You know, like with Williams, how are they going to do with Sainz and Albon together? So some of those different things. Hamilton shifting to Ferrari, huge, massive story. So that's also kind of a cool thing to watch. Is he going to be better than last year with where he was basically, you know, Russell was clearly better in just about every race than he was.
He really was.
Yeah. Yeah. Not by huge margins, but just a little bit. So how's all that going to play out? So, you know, first thing we get to the race, and what do we see? We see people all wearing raincoats, you know, ponchos on and everything. And then we start seeing, you know, as they go down to the grid before the formation lap, and everybody's got little rain umbrellas on, rain gear. And the glorious thing of a wet track is viewed upon.
Yeah, we started,
which I love.
I know,
absolutely love when it rains and there's a race. Makes for wonderful watching. So much stuff you can't predict.
What was our predictions for safety cars?
Let's see. I think we didn't do that, and we probably should have. But like,
I think I predicted 2.
Yeah, you predicted 2. I think somewhere around 4. And I don't remember how many we ended up with, but I know that by the end of the day, there were 6 different drivers that did not finish. So yeah, it was chaos.
Pure
glorious
Honestly,
chaos.
It's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, it makes it so much fun.
It made up
watch.
For the winner, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place for a driver that he starts the race in pole and he finishes in first, and there's really no drama as it goes. Yeah. But man, it's glorious when it rains, because then there's drama all throughout the race, like from top to bottom, anywhere that you go. And so in this race, it wasn't like the heavy rain. There were some, you know, like class 3 being like, hey, it's a red flag. Class 1 being just light and getting the surface wet and everything.
And that's actually the first time I really pay attention to that, or maybe it's the first time the broadcasters kind of explain that, the class of rain. And last year we had a lot of rain, but it was always like, oh, there's light rain, there's heavy rain. But now with the classes, like, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Well, yeah. And like, so when coming into this race with it, talking about the rain, I'm having visions of Max Verstappen in Brazil last year and how wonderful of a race that was, unless you're not a Max Verstappen fan. But and it was just a masterclass on racing. And so I was really excited to see, like, what's going to happen, who's going to shine, who's going to step up. And the race did not disappoint, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it started at the formation lap, right?
Yes.
Who do we see? First rookie out, Isaac Hajar. Yeah. Man, that was rough. That was so hard to watch, but also pretty cool. I mean, we're going to get to the rookies, but Isaac Hajar, I mean, did you see when he crashed? Like, I think he was in such shock, he couldn't even move. Yeah. Like, he was literally stuck on the tarmac for a little. He was like, "What in the world just happened?"
Yeah, he wasn't even going fast. It just he hit some paint on the road and just spun out.
Yeah, he lost traction. I think he was on like one of the white lines. He gave it a little gas, and then that's it. He spun out, and end of the race for him. It's crazy. He's out there, and then you can see like he's like visibly like distraught, like kind of like probably crying. And I mean, this is his debut. He makes it only to the formation lap, and then he's walking back to the paddock. They're talking about how sad he is, and then who consoles him? Yeah,
so he's walking back, and Lewis Hamilton's dad comes up, puts his arm around him, starts talking, and the whole time, like, Isaac, his head's down, his visor's up, he still has his helmet on, and he has both hands
on his helmet,
or at least one hand on his helmet, and I'm like, okay, dude, but he's definitely like tore it
I
up.
think I'm a fan.
Yeah, I mean,
after that,
yeah,
like
it
seeing
seems
him
like
so emotional.
Yeah, pretty loves the sport.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I think I'm a Isaac Hajar fan. So
Yeah, I'm gonna follow him on Instagram. I'm
yeah.
gonna stalk him tonight.
yeah, same. I bet his following like shot up like crazy after that.
I hope it did.
Yeah.
I hope for his sake. That's cool.
Yeah, his stock went up
it
after that
definitely
for
sucks
sure.
for him to hope he turns lemons into lemonade, or
Yeah, no,
takes the
definitely.
glass half empty and makes it half full.
I wonder how many memes are going to be out there with his like face.
I don't know. I've only created 10,000. No, just no. So rookie chaos, man. It sucks for him.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one, Doohan,
Oh yeah.
our mate. Crikey.
Yeah. See, he
That
had,
was sad.
like, in my opinion, going into the last season, like he would have had, if he was a driver last year, he would have had the best hair in Formula One. And he shaved it all off, and this is what happens.
Yes.
So, note to self: don't shave your head, unless it's dire necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on that.
Definitely don't do that. But
Yeah. But he has a lot of pressure,
he had a lot of pressure going in because you have Calapinto,
right?
basically just waiting for you to mess up.
Yeah.
And it was really bad to see him like just kind of struggling this weekend. And sure enough, it ended with the spin and a crash. So sucks for doing home race and not what you want to do when you're under pressure.
Right.
Kind of gives you like that Sergio Perez vibes from last year. You kind of like see it and you're like, you need a good result. You need a result, and then you need some good results to kind of get out of that and to start the season with like a little shine in the rain. It kind of sucks. Feel bad for him.
Yeah. I feel bad for all those guys that had their shunts happen.
You know who I don't feel bad for though?
Tell me who you don't feel bad for.
Lawson.
Oh yeah.
Also out.
Yeah.
But I
not a
wasn't. I
fan.
didn't feel bad at all. I'm not a fan. You know, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, well, he wasn't nice to your guy.
He
Wasn't nice
wasn't.
to
The
Perez.
whole like, you know, coming in super confident and driving a car that was drivable and then, you know, flicking his finger at Perez and this whole deal. I can't get over it. And you know, granted, Red Bull isn't known for having the nicest drivers, and that's okay. But he just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you're
anyway,
not going to get
so
over
he's
this,
out. Oh well, too bad.
Okay, yeah. So he's gone.
And then,
and then we have signs go out, but
We had signs went out, but that's you know
not
unfortunate.
not a rookie. Bortatello.
In a safety car out of all things.
Oh yeah.
Bartoletto.
Yeah, Bartoletto.
Bartoletto was out as well. I mean, it's just, you know, it kind of shows like, hey, these guys aren't inexperienced in these cars and inexperienced in the rain, like in those cars.
Right.
But sad to see, but better luck next time.
Yeah. Definitely.
There were some winners, though. Antonelli.
Oh my gosh.
Man, didn't look good coming in to the weekend.
What, he started 16th, wasn't it?
And he was just struggling in general. And out of nowhere, awesome result. Really something to look out for this year. So I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, I mean he's got like all the talent in the world. So everybody talks about how fast and how quick he is.
Yeah,
and all race long, he was.
I mean, he was moving up
and shaking.
Yeah, he was moving up the field for sure. Really nice moves. I was telling you earlier as we were watching the race, like kind of reminded me of Perez, kind of like going, you know, making some aggressive moves coming through the field, overpassing people in a track that's not that easy to overpass in. But car looked good, decent at least. I mean, Russell was up there too, right? But yeah, good to see. And then we have Behrman.
Yes.
So going into the weekend, he had a few crashes. So I was surprised he did anything at all.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he finished the race. So that, I mean, hey, and you're like the only other rookie to finish the race. Good on you. But I'm interested to see the rest of his season. I don't think, you know, at first when we were when he was like subbing in for Sainz
Yeah.
last year, it looked like he had a lot more potential, and I feel like that stars kind of like faded over the winter.
Yeah.
And maybe with all the other rookies coming in, it was kind of like, oh, okay, Behrman, but like, do you still have that grizzly in you? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you
I don't know.
a koala bear?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Crikey.
I guess for this race he was down under. But yeah, he's he out of the different rookies that were promoted, I think he had the least success.
Yeah.
The least amount of success, but yet he had more fanfare, I think, just because of his Formula One debut,
Right.
and scoring points in that
Right.
opener with Ferrari,
Right.
Which was great. But I don't think that he's as maybe. I mean, he has talent to be there. He's definitely deserving. But I think that there's some of those other drivers maybe a lot better than him. But he seemed like he got a lot of hype last year just because of that.
Right.
So, I don't know, but Kimi Antonelli, man, goes from gosh, he ends up finishing fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was great.
Best start to the season you can have.
I mean,
honestly.
yeah, and also moving up that much too.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like he was just, he had a few lucky things go his way, but
Right.
it was like multiple passes, multiple things, and managing the race well,
Yeah.
handling the car well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was in tricky conditions for everybody. I mean, you saw people at the front of the grid, Norris and Piastri and Verstappen having some challenges too with their cars. But
Yep.
so yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And what about Hamilton?
So, for you guys that know or don't know, I predicted Hamilton to win, partially because you predicted who I thought was going to win, and I didn't want to choose the same thing. That's my excuse. Okay, so so I was hoping that he would win, and for a second there, he basically was staying around anywhere like 6th to 10th most of the day,
Yeah.
and for a little bit, because of some of the safety cars, because of some of how the race was playing out, because they were expecting to have Class 3 rain hit, and they were on slicks, and so they were changing tires and everything. So for a few laps, he was actually first. And I think if he had stayed out, I don't remember if he was on slicks or not at that point. And I think that they did get a little bit of rain, so he probably would have had to pit, but I think they had another safety car. So there's some different race management stuff where it makes me wonder, hey, could he have been up at the front for longer than that? I think he probably would have been passed if he was, but I don't know. He did fine, but I was for a minute there. I got pretty excited.
Yeah,
At least a lap or two.
Yeah, he hadn't pitted.
My dreams were
I think
completed.
he should have pitted earlier.
Yeah.
And I think he would have been higher up the field had he done that.
Probably so.
But to me, the most interesting thing with Hamilton was his interactions with his race engineer.
Yes, please tell me more.
It's not Bono anymore, right? So he's over here like, it's funny. It was an evolution throughout the race. It started with like, okay, if you can please stop talking to me, please.
Right. Yes.
Like very polite, like, okay, let me to it, please.
Yes.
And then it went from that to, leave me to it. Leave me to it. Like,
right.
I get it. I
Right.
get what you're saying. I'm not close enough. Like, leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's still a lot of like, telepathy that's not happening with them, right? Like they're not mentally
totally on the same page.
not on the same page. And so, it was interesting to see. I hope he kind of figures it out. I hope they
Didn't
kind
they
of
have like a long beep, like a high pitched beep, kind of indicating cuss words at the end?
Yeah, they did. They did.
So it goes from please to all of that.
Yeah, it
that
went from hey, please let me to it to like curse words.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
it's really interesting to see how that's going to work. You know what I think? I think it's the extra carbs he's intaking now.
The extra carbs.
Yeah, because there's like he's like trying to get his vegan stuff and he can't over there.
I mean,
like, where are you going to find
all the pasta?
where are you going to find
how can you refuse the
gluten-free
pasta
stuff
there?
or like vegan or
And the
whatever?
pasta's so good in Italy too.
I know
compared to here.
Where's that carbonara and stuff like carbonara? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You just got to eat it. I wonder how his Italian is right now.
Probably improving.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
But we had some battles.
Yes. Had some different battles at the front with Norris, Piastri, and Verstappen. So right off the bat, first turn, Verstappen's trying to overtake Piastri. Almost does. Like he almost goes in between both Piastri and Hamilton. I mean, excuse me, Piastri and Norris. Norris cuts him off. He ends up kind of going around, is able to overtake Oscar in a couple of turns, and stays that way for a little while. I think he burns his tires out, and then Piastri is eventually able to pass him. And that's how it stays most of the race until we start getting into the safety cars. And like, I think at one point, Verstappen was like 16, 17 seconds behind them. And, you know, and he's just waiting it out because, Russell was somewhere around that distance behind him. So he didn't have anybody to, you know, and so he waited for the safety car, was able to move back and get close up again. At some different points, get some tire changes at certain points. And, things all of a sudden changed for him.
Yeah. Like, what was it? Like after the 35th lap around there, the rain started to come in, and all of a sudden he's back in the mix, right? When they're all having fresh tires.
Yeah. So he gets back in the mix, stays in the mix, and it was pretty interesting. Like there was one curve where Norris and Piastri went off, hit the gravel. Norris recovers. Piastri goes across the road and into the grass and gets stuck, and that's pretty much his race. But he was able to back out. Yeah. And I did see something that he thanked Clarkson's farm for his time on the tractor this past year. Apparently, he spent some time there and was able to back out and in the off-road conditions with some slick tires on. Yeah. So but for a second there, like once he hit the grass, I thought it was done and he was not going to finish.
The crowd was so happy when he made it back onto the track.
Yeah. So he gets back on. He's able to make it up, and he's like, last place at the time, which was like 16th, right? Yeah, he pits, changed tires. And we're like, how far up do you think he can get? We're like, like 12.
I think 11th. I said 11th. Like maybe he can overtake Yuki, get to 11th, maybe be behind Hamilton or something.
Yeah.
But he outdid it.
He was like, ends up 9th place. Yeah. So,
hey, back in the points. That's pretty cool.
Hats off to Piastri. Yeah. Well done. So good job for him. But Norris, I mean, he's able to stay in front, bring home the win.
Honestly,
Verstappen gets really close.
One or two more laps.
Do you think Verstappen would have passed?
I think so.
He had DRS. He had the better tire. He had the medium
Yeah.
tires. Norris had the hard tires. So, I think he very well could have. Like, he was getting closer each lap.
Yeah, he was getting close.
Yeah, but just not close enough.
Not close enough. But in the story, Norris wins.
Yes, Verstappen comes in second. And then for third place was Russell, correct?
Yeah, Russell. Yes. And then out of nowhere, Albon.
Well, so we thought at the beginning. Albon was fourth because they had actually Antonelli came across the line fourth.
Right.
He was given like a 5-second penalty. And then after the race, they looked at it and were like, oh, well, we didn't have enough information. So he's actually fourth.
Yeah.
So he actually started 16th, finished fourth in his first race.
And
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. And our magician in the rain,
yes,
Lance Stroll, finished like 5th or 6th, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, 6th. Yeah, he finished 6th. Yeah, I looked up at one point and was like, "Wait a minute, Daniel, look where Stroll is."
He was driving in another dimension.
He was. It was like he was in
every time
world.
It rains.
It's perfect for him. Yeah.
Oh, Stroll.
Yeah.
What did you think about the credits at the beginning of the race?
I liked it. I liked it just because it had Russell like doing his whole wings, arms out. He didn't have the head down, so I was somewhat disappointed. But because the arms were out, I gave it an A+.
It was strange because the arms are out and he's kind of like walking towards like the camera. It's like
maybe 9 out of 10.
I honestly think it just progressively every year gets a little worse. Like it's like there's a little more AI in there. The camera work is interesting. Like it's almost like they use two different views. Like in one, you look at Leclerc, and it's like he's like happy, and then it's kind of like sad.
Right? Yeah.
So like the angles are a little weird, but it's cool. It's always a nice thing to see in the beginning of the year. You're just like, I can't wait for these intros.
You got to get the music down, you know, like the little the orchestra.
That's right.
Going, it always gets me pumped up. That's how I knew that everything was right in the world, was when I heard that.
Gosh, yeah. all our worries just like gone.
Everything, yeah, perfect zen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So next week.
Yes, next week is going to be in Shanghai. So I really like the Shanghai track. So next week I'm going to talk about it a little bit more.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave that hanging for this time.
All right.
So, but yeah, in Shanghai next weekend, we're going to see some cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool
What are
racing.
your predictions?
My predictions are that Norris is going to win. Then we're going to have Piastri and Verstappen. Those three are going to be on the podium.
That's fair.
Yeah. So now's the time when you get to decide.
Yeah. So
are you going to
I'm
follow my
thinking about.
predictions?
I'm
or are you
thinking
gonna go
about it.
something different?
Well, if there's an artificial strategy here where
Okay.
Norris gets it because of a call from the pit wall, yeah, I can see it being Norris, Piastri, Verstappen.
Okay.
But what I would like to see, and this is my call right now,
Okay.
Piastri, Norris, Verstappen.
Okay. Piastri, Norris, Verstappen.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going to win then. Because and here's why is because Piastri, though great as he is, he tends to make some mistakes here and there throughout the race, more so than Norris does. And then Verstappen, I would pick him, but I don't think his car is as good.
It's not.
So, yeah, so far.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what we got. So next week, we'll be dropping something for you guys. So, yeah. Like, follow, subscribe, do all the good stuff. You know what to do on your platform. So,
That's right.
yes. Thank you guys. Hope you have a great week, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, Daniel.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.